Well, there it is. That's my next project. I'm joining a silly group of people that build mud mowers, or at least one. Well, my name's Ben, and this is a DIY Homefront, and this is just going to be a pet project I've got in mind. I ended up picking up this old Craftsman GT 5000 lawnmower from back in 2003 for $100, and I'm going to fix it up into a mud mower. We'll just have to see where it goes from here. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you what I got, and then I'm just going to start tearing stuff down because it's got a lot of things on it I don't think I'm going to need. Well, I got it because it's a manual transmission, and that's what I really wanted for a mud mower. And the other reason why I got it is that it was cheap, $100. Well, I filmed this quite a few weeks ago, and I've done quite a bit of work, and I need to make some videos, but this video is going to be about the pulleys. There's a pulley that goes on the transmission and a pulley that goes on the engine, and if you want your lawnmower to go faster, well, you're going to have to adjust one of them, or maybe both. Alright, I'm under the engine, and I'm removing the power takeoff unit, which supplies power to the deck. Now on this mower, I decided to change the pulley that went to the transmission because there's a lot less modifications required for that. Now if you're into mud mowers, I'm going to create a playlist and you'll just have to check all these videos out. Well, this is what that finished pulley looks like, and it's going to go on the transmission, but we'll get there in a minute. Let me show you how I made this pulley. So this is the old pulley off of the transmission, and I'd like to make the diameter smaller, which means it'll go faster. So what I did was I took a grinder and I went around the edges and ground down the weld that was on it so that I could take this off. And you can see how it's got like a lip. The next thing I did is I found another pulley that was off another tractor, and I did the same thing too. I ended up grinding off where this was welded together. And what I need to do is I need to make a hole big enough to set the pulley mount into it. So I have got one of these step bits that will finally be the same diameter. So once I drill this out, I should just be able to weld this back in place. Sometimes a little bit easier said than done. Now these step bits can be pretty pricey if you buy a name brand one. I believe I got this one at Ace Hardware and it was $60. They also sell them at Harbor Freight, and you can get them for probably $9 or $10. The difference is you might use it once or twice and have to buy another one. So if you're doing a lot of holes, you might want to buy the expensive one, but if you just have one or two holes to do, a cheap one would probably work just as well. How about that? Nice clean cut, and if I'm lucky, that slides right in there. So now I can weld this up, and I've got a new pulley for the rear transaxle that's a lot smaller. I had a flux core welder, but the humidity seemed to get to it, and one day it just stopped working. So my plasma cutter also is a stick welder. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be stick welding this. Now the first thing to do is to get everything lined up. So I'm going to get some clamps and make sure I get the pulley secured to the wood before I put 2 tacks on it, and then continue on to welding the rest of it. On this, I'm just going to tack a couple of spots and then I'll flip it over. Well, the light produced by welding can damage your eyes and the camera, so let's just wait till I have it done and we'll take a look and see how I did. Well, I did some measuring on this pulley, and it should be half of the size of the pulley I'm replacing. So if the mower would go about 8 miles an hour in its highest gear, when I get done, it should go twice as fast, so it should go at least 16 miles an hour in its highest gear. Now I can always go back and adjust the pulley that's attached to the engine, but I'll try this out and see how it works before I do anything else. Now if you're wondering why I'm using pliers to hold this pulley, it's because that stick welder, it got it pretty darn hot, too hot to touch. I don't know if that's normal with the stick welder or if I have my settings wrong, but that's just the way it is. It's hot. I'm not perfect, and it's not a pretty well, but it surely ain't going nowhere. Now I'll get this cleaned up and painted too. Now before I paint this piece, I'm going to use some acetone and a blue shop towel, and I'm going to wipe this down really good and make sure I get any oil, dirt, or debris off of this piece. It's time to start the painting process, and I'm going to start with some Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer. And I'm going to put an even but not necessarily heavy coat on each side of this pulley and give it about 15 or 20 minutes to dry. 15 minutes has gone by, and now I'm going to put the final coat of paint on the pulley, and I'm going to use some Rust-Oleum hammered paint that's a gold color. As you can see, I'm not worried about trying to paint the part of the pulley that has the belt that's going to go on it, because the belt's just going to wear any paint that I would put on that part of the pulley off anyway. Well, the paint's had a couple days to dry, and now it's time to put it on the transaxle. But now you've seen exactly the process I go through when I want to swap out a pulley for the mower. I find a substitute, and then I grind off the mounting hardware that would make it go on the engine or the transaxle, and then I take the time to weld it back on. And then I clean everything up and put a coat of paint on it so I don't have to worry about it rusting. Well, thanks for watching this video. I hope this was helpful. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you in that next video.